Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, the host of the Beliefcast, where we uncover the power of mindset, resilience, and bold transformation. Today, we are in for a treat. We have the amazing Jenn Drummond. Jenn, thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for the opportunity.
Wow, we met the other day at the Podcast Palooza, and I've been, looking you up ever since, and all the stuff you've done. It's amazing. You've been on an amazing journey. You're a record-setting mountaineer, motivational speaker, mindset coach, entrepreneur, a mother of 7. I mean, that right there is amazing. And you epitomize what it means to redefine limits and truly live with intention. You survived a near-fatal car crash in 2018, which compelled you to reassess what living fully means, to charting an awe-inspiring path that includes climbing Ama de Blanc.
Yes, nice job.
Right? For her 40th birthday at age 40, right? In 2020. And then your story of purpose has been amazing. Just 3 years later, you completed 7 second summits, climbing the second highest peaks on each continent, becoming both the first woman and only the second person to ever do so. That in itself just blows my mind. Your journey runs deep, the achievements, everything. You embrace challenges, you rewrite narratives, you empower others to do the same thing. It is truly my honor to have you on the show.
Well, it's an honor to be here, so thank you for letting me.
You bet. So there's a lot to talk about here. You've done so much, and I can't wait to get to that. But I always like to start off so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
Tell us where you grew up and maybe a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, so I grew up in Holland, Michigan. I'm the oldest of 3 children.
Okay.
And I was raised Catholic. My dad was one of 13.
Oh, man.
And so we would have like Easter egg hunts and everything with my cousins.
Okay.
And there'd be like 65 of us. And so I didn't know that was weird until I went to college and we'd share our like childhood stories.
Right.
I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
you did your Easter egg hunt where and what happened? Like it was like hyper competitive, but hyper supportive when you have that much family in your back pocket. So
boy, as a kid, that would have been a lot of fun, I would
it was
imagine.
so much fun. I mean, we would play this game called Capture the Flag.
Yeah.
That was probably a 20-minute game and 2 years worth of stories, right? And it was just so fun of who did what and the strategy and this, that, and the other thing. So very blessed childhood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously you've done some amazing things in your life. You're this go-getter. Let's go achieve these amazing things. Were you like that as a child? Were you, someone who was really confident and were doing things out of the ordinary, or did this come later?
I think I was pretty motivated.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, because I don't know as a kid you like intentionally are motivated or determined.
Yeah.
But my dad will always tell this story of me learning how to ride my bike. Because if I could ride my bike without training wheels, I could go to my grandma's house and grandma had gum.
Okay.
We didn't have gum in our house. And we had this dirt driveway. And so I had to be able to drive around the dirt driveway circle 13 times because that was the equivalent to going to grandma's. And I mean, I was terrible. I didn't know how to ride my bike. So I would fall, I'd skin my knee, I'd do whatever. My dad's like, okay, I think we tried enough for today. And I would not quit. I'm like, no, we're doing this until I figure this out. And he's like, your mom's going to get mad at me because you're all skinned up and everything. I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. And I figured it out and I wanted that gum. So there you go.
Wow. So yeah, you're right. I think as kids, we kind of just do it. We don't even know we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was just curious if that kind of came later. But so again, I really am so impressed with the way you carry yourself and kind of how you command a stage. I've watched a lot of your interviews now, and I'm so impressed. And I know this is based off this passion that started probably right around, when you had this car accident, this near fatal car accident. Do you mind? I know that's probably a hard thing to share, but share about what happened there and then kind of how that propelled you into doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So I was driving to Heber, Utah from Park City to get a new driver's license because I had
Okay.
lost mine on the
Oh.
ski hill or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And on my way back, I was paying attention to the reservoir on the side of the road thinking, when is it going to freeze over? Why don't we have
Right.
more snow? Are we going to get out of statewide drought? You know, your brain just wanders. And then my attention got pulled back to the road. And I was coming up hot on a semi truck going slower than a snail.
Oh boy.
It was crazy. And so I'm like, okay, went to get into the fast lane, didn't quite make it. And so the second trailer of the semi and the passenger side of my car collided. And I remember just saying, like, if you let me live, I'll do something good with my life. Like, I was like literally screaming.
You really said that?
I said that out
Wow.
loud because I was so afraid. And it's one of those, when you have a near-death experience, time dilates. So the accident probably took 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 years.
Oh man.
And I just remember, I remember going through the flips and talking myself through them. Like, just keep your hands on the steering wheel because then you won't lose a finger, and keep your head on the headrest because it's protecting your neck. And like all these things that you're like, how did you even have time to figure that out?
Right.
And then I survived, obviously, and pretty much walked away unscathed. And
Jeez,
one of the
that's amazing.
biggest takeaways from that accident was, like, we check out by ourselves. You know, like I was it was like me and my creator by myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have, here's my gold star sheet. Here's all my thank you letters. Here's what everybody says. Like, good job. High five. Thank you. It was like, hey, did you do what you came here to do? Did you understand the assignment? And I was so lost in achievement and accolades and external validation that when that aha moment came to me, I was like, man, I've been living out of alignment.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what an experience to have something like that. You know, and I saw a picture of that car. I don't know how you walked out of there unscathed. I know. You would think that person did not make it.
No, and like when the police pulled up to the accident, they're like, okay, we have a dead person.
For sure.
And they actually, it's an area that they've had some accidents before because of this, like, there's a light at the bottom. So if you get stopped by the light in your semi truck, you're going really, really slow.
Yeah.
If you're a car and you don't stop at the light, you're going speed. And so they've had more than one collision in this area. So they studied the whole accident and all the different pieces. And they called me and they're like, we've rebuilt this accident over 50 different ways. We cannot build a scenario where you walk away, let alone survive.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And that just was heavy. It's like, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? I promise I do something significant. How do we even start?
Wow.
Right?
Was that feeling of being out of alignment, was that immediate? Like, was it right after, was it that moment of the crash, or was it a few weeks later, a month later?
I think it kind of kept revealing itself.
Okay.
Because when I walked in to my front door, the first time coming home from the hospital, I opened the door and there was like pizza on the counter. Someone went by in rollerblades. Two kids were definitely having an argument in the corner. And instead of like jumping into mom mode and trying to correct everything, I just sat there and acknowledged the perfection of everything.
Whoa.
And was just in such awe that this was my life and how lucky am I. And those two kids that were fighting, you want to know why they were fighting? They were fighting because they were so convinced of their idea that they wanted their sibling to feel the same way.
Jeez,
Right? It wasn't like, you're bad, I'm good. It was like, I love you so much that I want to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? And so this entire life, like I had this lens that I couldn't unsee the world from. And everything was magic, like pure magic. The weed growing out of the cement, right? That used to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm all of a sudden like, good job, weed. Like, go for it. Like, I'm here to cheer you. I mean, it was just such a funny thing.
Oh, wow. Again, what perspective. And unfortunately, I think it does take sometimes an experience like that for us to actually appreciate all of it.
All of it.
Right?
All of it.
Like almost like, hey, I have amazing kids who happen to just be in an argument, but man, they're amazing, even though they're having this little tussle over here.
Yeah, and I got a call from the principal's office at like a few weeks after the accident. He's like, hey, so-and-so was mouthing off and here's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Thanks for letting me know. And he's like expected a different response. Yeah. And I go, I'm sorry. I'm still in the phase of being so grateful I'm here for this call.
Yeah.
You could almost call me about anything, and this experience is better than not having it.
Right. So, you mentioned that you cried out to God in that moment, like, please save me, that kind of thing. Is your faith a big part of your life still? Huge. Is that something that you hold on to? And
more so than ever.
Talk about how that even increased, if you don't mind, after the accident even.
Yeah. The funny thing about the accident is when the car was starting, like when I saw this collision happening, mm-hmm. I got a download or an insight, or however you want to say it, of like surrender. Mm. And prior to that, my life was white knuckling, go harder, do better, I can prove you more, and to success. And in that moment, it was like, just let go.
Really?
And when I just and you think about it, if car accidents happen, oftentimes it's the person that is the drunk driver that survives because they're not fully coherent to be able to respond to what's happening.
Yep.
And to me, I was so busy proving and achieving and trying to fit in that I realized, man, if I just let go and listen, mm-hmm. life's going to be a lot easier, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It was a huge aha moment.
I can imagine.
And I come back to that all the time. Like, I'll give an example.
Yeah, please.
So when I was hanging upside down from the car, there was a person coming towards the car yelling, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And when they peeled back the windshield, they're like, are you okay? And I remember hearing it now. I'm like, okay, now I'm registering they're talking to mm-hmm. me. I'm not just hearing these sounds. And I looked at that human and I thought, I must not be, because his facial expression is telling me I am not okay.
Yeah.
And so instead of accepting that as truth, I closed my eyes and I wiggled my fingers and toes. I'm like, I can feel my fingers and toes. And I said it out loud because he goes, if you can feel your fingers and toes, then I think you're going to be okay, but I need you to sit here and wait till the ambulance comes. And for me, that's something I go back to all the time.
Yeah.
Because if I look outside myself for validation, it's never going to be enough. I'm never going to be okay. There's always going to be something else wrong. But if I can shut out the world and just connect to my body and my being and wiggle my fingers and toes, I get to decide if I'm okay.
I love that. I think that is such a powerful message for all of us, right? Because
Yeah.
I think, especially now with social media and stuff, we fall into the trap of looking out for that outside stuff to make us feel better.
Right.
When in reality, we need to be looking inward, right?
Inward. And the minute you close your eyes and you wiggle your fingers and toes, like is the minute whatever narrative you're subscribing to stops. And then you get to check in and say, like, well, is that the story I want to write? Is that the experience I want to have?
Yeah.
What can I do to make it mine and true for me?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And you say you refer back to that often.
Often. Like anytime I was climbing the mountains
yeah.
and I was scared and overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, shut down. I can feel my fingers and toes. I'm okay. What's my next move?
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I want to talk about the climbing.
Yeah.
And I want you to explain to our listeners, because, you completed the 7-second summits. I think a lot of people, when they hear that, are like, okay, what does that exactly mean?
Yeah.
And it's actually more difficult than the highest summits, because you mentioned that to me at our event that we were at. So would you mind explaining that, and then talk about what made you decide to go, I'm going to go do this?
Right. So here I survived this accident in
Yeah.
2018 at the end, like a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
And so 2019 became this year of who am I? Why was I saved? What am I even interested in doing?
Yeah.
So I made this big bucket list of things I wanted to see, do, and experience before I die. On that list was climb a mountain, like somewhere between like swimming with whale sharks and tasting pasta in Italy. Okay. Like not at the top, just
Right.
in there.
Just in there.
In
yeah.
there. And so at the end of 2019, I realized in 2020, I was turning 40. I'm like, okay, well, what on my list should I do for my 40th birthday to kind of launch that next decade? And so when I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm going to climb a mountain because it's only going to get harder as I get older.
Right.
And what a great way to launch a decade is like rise to meet it.
Absolutely.
So I was sold. Okay. So then I asked friends, I'm like, hey, if you could climb one mountain in the world, what would you climb? And they mentioned a mountain named Ama de Blam, which I had never heard of.
Yeah.
But it's supposedly, I don't think it's true, the Paramount Pictures logo. And so every time I went to a movie, I could be like, I climb that mountain and I go to the movies because I have 7 children and you do those things. And
right.
It's located in Nepal. And I don't know. I was sold.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, fast forward, we're in 2020 and this little thing called COVID enters the scene. So now I'm not climbing anything. I'm homeschooling 7 children because all the schools shut down because we were maybe all going to die. And one day, one of my sons was struggling with his math homework. So I did that parent pep talk we do.
Yeah.
We do hard things.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, if we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real mountain like Mount Everest? And I'm like, I'm a dumb blonde. Ama de Blam, honey. Not I'm a dumb blonde, but thank you.
That's hilarious.
Finish your homework and we'll look at Everest. Like, I think God's funny, right?
Yeah,
like I do.
right.
Like when we give him a chance, he'll show up in humor.
Yeah, right.
And so anyways, the kid finishes his homework. We look at Everest. He goes to bed. I still look at Everest. I'm like, I think I'm going to climb it. And I'm going to show him whatever our Everest is, we're capable of summiting. So I have to hire a coach. I hire a coach. He gives me this book about becoming an uphill athlete. I read the book about becoming an uphill athlete. And in the front is a story of a lady who got a Guinness World Record. Now, mind you, I have 7 children, 5 boys and twin girls. The only book I can get my children to read from cover to cover is the Guinness World Record book. So we have like every edition.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I'm having a call with my coach and I'm venting. I'm like, if I got a Guinness World Record, I think I'd be the coolest mom ever.
For sure.
And I was venting and he's like, he took it as a challenge. He's like, I'll come back. So he came back with the 7-second summits, which I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
7 what?
Yeah.
Seconds? Who? Summits? Like, I think there's mountains in there. And he's like, well, they're the second highest peak on all of the 7 continents. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I climb the highest?
Yeah, right.
He's like, well, the highest have been climbed by about 500 people, but the seconds have only been done by one person, and it's a male. So you'd be the first woman. And he goes, think about it. 7 continents, 7 mountains, 7 children. It's a jackpot.
Jackpot.
And I'm like, it is a jackpot, but I haven't slept in a tent before. Right? I mean, this is like the farthest thing from me. But the crazy thing is like I got that full body yes.
Yeah.
That same sensation I had in the car accident of surrender was the same feeling of like, I don't know why my body's saying yes, because my resume is going to have a panic attack and is telling me, girl, don't write checks you can't cash.
Yeah.
But it was this feeling. And then I went home to the kids and I'm like, hey, my coach suggested this. Like, what do you guys think? And before we could even get through any of the conversation, they started claiming continents.
Really?
Right? So like all of a sudden this kid wants Africa and this one wants South America and this one whatever. Well, when you have your children that claim a continent, they kind of equate you climbing their mountain with love. And so now you're doing it.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
You're in.
You're in. I mean, that was the first time I realized accountability is love. Like it truly is. And if you can look at that in your life on all fronts, accountability is love.
Ooh. I've never heard it said that way, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I was off to the races.
You're off to the races. Never slept in a tent before. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not, oh man. So here you are, like you're going to go do these things. I mean, it's one thing to say you're going to go do it and prepare, read your books, train, but talk about when you're actually doing it.
Oh my gosh. When you're actually in it, okay, everything's romantic on paper.
Yeah.
And then you start doing the climb.
Yeah.
And I don't care what your climb is, right? Like if you're starting a business, you're starting a relationship, you're starting a family, like in your mind and on paper, this thing is beautiful. And then you start doing it. And the baby pukes and the big client leaves. And all of a sudden the mountain throws like this windstorm at you. And you're like, I paid to be here.
Yeah.
Like, why did I pay to be here? What is wrong with my mental head? Right.
Right.
So you just go through it and you realize those setbacks or those challenges, that's life.
Yeah.
Truly.
So true. Yeah, I heard once, I'm going to butcher this, but there's a practice that the Japanese use called misogi.
Okay.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah. Where they pick like one big goal a year.
One big goal a year, and they equate it to, if you'll do that, it's equal to a year's worth of therapy.
Okay.
And like for me, we were talking about the Spartans and stuff, and for me, like that's what it does for me. It's like, okay, I can do hard things. I just went through this. I can handle this over here because I did this.
Right.
Did you feel that way? Like you attack these mountains and then
you do, and you kind of lose like patience for humanity, And I hate to say that, but I remember like sitting in an airport. I'm like, we're in an air-conditioned airport that has bathrooms and food,
right.
And the airplane has Wi-Fi. And what's your problem? Like you don't know what problems are, sweetheart. Like let's get into this world and put perspective in place.
Yeah. Wow. So you're now officially in the Guinness Book of World Records. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is amazing. And it's funny you say that. Like when I was a kid, that was really the only book I would go through too. It's like I would just flip through those pages.
Right. And there's some weird records in there.
Some weird ones.
I know. It's just like, I don't want a weird one.
The longest fingernails.
Right. Or the biggest pumpkin, or how many hot dogs did you eat in a minute? Or, just things.
But to do what you've done, I mean, talk about how your life changed afterwards. So you do these 7 summits.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what happened after. Like what was it like after you had accomplished this?
Okay, well, I did 7, thought I was done, and that was a false summit because Guinness came back and said, hey, there's a dispute on what constitutes a continent, so we need you to climb 2 more mountains. So I had to do 9, and all of us listening have all thought we've been done, and then all of a sudden we realized there has to be more in the tank to get to the top, which you dig in deep and you find it. But I would say like things just evolved.
Okay.
What I really realized is fear is creative.
Yeah.
And it would show up in my life in the most crazy ways. Like I remember when I was going to go climb Everest, and I had to climb Everest to train for K2. Okay, so Everest was a training climb, which is silly to even think about.
Right.
But my whole fear of Everest was like, I can't be away from my kids this long.
Yeah.
Like that's a terrible mom. And I pride myself in being a good mom.
Right.
And so for most of us, that'd keep us stuck, right? Like I'm not going to do that because I identify as this and that goes against my identity.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, well, I have to climb this to do my thing. So what are my options? Well, then it causes you to get curious. And so I met a doctor, and a doctor's like, hey, there's this company that makes these tents that allows you to acclimatize at home. Maybe they'll send you a tent, and then you can shorten your Everest expedition. Okay, so my Everest expedition went from 8 weeks to 3. Okay. 3's long, but 3's not 8 weeks.
For sure.
Right? And so
big difference.
Like it's just interesting how fear would always show up to try to keep me stuck because my identity couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
And so I had to shift my identity. I had to shift the curiosity. I had to say, yeah, you're cute. Let's figure out what's on the other side of this.
And that's where the creative piece comes in.
Yeah.
Where you have to be creative. How am I going to do this and still show up for my family and things like that?
Right. And it's always available, but it's maybe not with how you're thinking. So you need to bring in an outside perspective that can open your eyes or doors to opportunities that you didn't even know existed. Like I had no idea there's an altitude tent. I mean, come on.
Me neither. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I still identify with the Four Seasons hotel versus a Four Seasons tent. So let's be real here, friends.
Let's do that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's incredible. And honestly, congratulations on that. And I think also, and I know you believe this too, but being a mom of 7, what an accomplishment that is.
Yeah.
Talk about how these climbs made you a better mom.
Yeah. Definitely did. And it's fun because when you're training for these climbs, it's visual for your kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like before I was working and busting and doing hard work, but they didn't get to see it. Right? It's in an office, it's on a computer. Like what are you watching YouTube, Mom? Right? They have no concept. But when I have to be at their soccer game and I have a 12-inch step and a backpack full of water bottles, and during that game, I'm just doing step-ups for that entire hour and a half so that I can get my workout in and see Junior play. They're like, oh, wow, when you want to chase big goals, you have to get creative and you have to make sacrifices.
Jeez.
Right? And then there's times where I didn't want to train, and there's times where they don't want to do math homework. And I'm like, you do your math, I'll do my training, we both win. And so we just got to do life in parallel more.
Okay.
because of the visual aspect of what I was pursuing. Also, when you chase things and you achieve, like I'll never forget. My daughters came home from school and they brought a friend home, and I heard them in the other room and they're like, your mom's the one that climbed Everest.
Really?
And my daughter's like, yeah. She was like, that is so cool. And my daughter's like, yeah. And she's going to take us to climb it someday too, if you want to. And so all of a
that's
sudden, like
awesome.
these really big goals are
Yeah.
like, yeah, do you want to do it? My mom's here for it. Let's go.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. I know this is another big question, but after you've done all these climbs, I know you probably learned a million lessons, but is there one that stands out to you as you look back and go, man, I learned this from that experience?
Yeah. I would say the biggest lesson I learned 1,000 times over is big mountains take big teams. I think a lot of us set these huge goals and we think we're going to get there by ourselves.
Right.
And if you're going to climb an Everest-like mountain, you need an Everest-like team to make it happen. Wow. And so anytime something gets hard in my life, it's one of the first things I ask myself now. Do I have enough people to help make this real? Or are all of us carrying too much right now, and so it's weighing us down and we're not going to be able to get to the top?
Wow. I love that. Big mountains need big teams. And I think about that with the clients that I deal with that are struggling with addictions and things like that. And big problems need a big solution kind of thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like another one is like A is A. We like to pretend A is B or A is C or A is an A minus, but you have to be just, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go, and let go of wishing you were somewhere else. Okay. So when I'm climbing these mountains, like Mount Logan, for example, I'm 115 pounds. It doesn't matter if I put on 5 more pounds. I'm not going to be able to carry that much up the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm lying to myself on how much I can carry up the mountain, we don't summit.
Yeah.
So then I know, like on my team, I need to pick a strong person that can carry a bulk of the weight.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to help out in other ways, like maybe cooking or shoveling snow or doing something that fits my body and what I'm skilled at.
Yeah.
And so whatever we're chasing, I think a lot of people miss the mark because they're not being honest with where they're starting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. So just being really clear on like A is A. There's no shame. There's no whatever. This is just where I'm at. Here's where I want to go. What do we need to fill in? What do I need to learn? And how do I get there?
Yeah. I love that. It's so well said. Did you ever cry on these hikes?
Oh my gosh, yes. I did. I cried. I cried a lot because here's the thing about climbing a mountain. You don't get to roll uphill. Like every step is intentional.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't ever get a break. Like every step you take, your mind's saying, your living room's nice. You could be in the Bahamas right now with your friends for the price you paid to be here. And you have to be like, you have to take that step and say, this is my why and I'm going to take it and we're good. So it takes... Yeah, there's definitely tears. Yeah. More than I'd like to admit, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. Did you have moments also of like doubting, like, were there times where you were close to going, okay, I can't do this, I'm going to go back? Or did that not was that not even an option?
Yeah. So the nice thing is some places it's not an option.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's more dangerous to go back. So you
yeah.
have to keep going forward. But we were stuck in a snowstorm for 6 days. Oh. And it just would not give up. And I kept thinking, there is no way my story is ending in this tent after 6 days of suffering. Like that just cannot be the deal. And I'll tell you, like, it was scary and dark. Like one time my guide was like, I want you to put all your gear on. I want you to have your sleeping bag in the ready. I want you to start going through your phone and writing notes to your family, because if this tent rips, the chances of us surviving are slim to none.
No way.
And so you're sitting there thinking, okay. And before you go on these expeditions, like I wrote notes to my family. Yeah. I was very intentional about, we need to do things we think we cannot do. Yeah. Like that's why we're here. Yeah. We have to experience what it means to be human. And that is leaving it on the field, pushing our limits and finding out, okay, here's where I can improve because I failed at this thing. Yeah. So there was definitely some dark, scary moments. I've lost a teammate in an avalanche. I have friends that lost fingers and frostbite and all that stuff. And I just remember thinking like, I need to just stay in my lane. I need to close my eyes. I need to wiggle my fingers and toes. I need to check in. Check in with God and be like, am I supposed to be here? And there's 3 mountains I turned around on.
Really?
Because I realized like the mountain will always be there, but I promised I'd come home alive.
Yeah.
And so I would check in and I'm like, it just doesn't feel
Didn't
right.
feel right.
And so I went home and I came back, and it is hard to go home without a summit. It is a lot easier to keep pushing forward. It is hard to be like, I don't know. And because I didn't know, I had to come home, because you only win the game if you're alive.
Exactly. And that's probably a lot harder to do that because you're already there.
You're there. You're
like,
invested.
okay, let's just
You're invested in so many levels, financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And you have to say, I don't have enough runway to make it home if I don't turn now.
Yeah. And I think I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. That's also proof that you put your kids and your family first, because you're like, no, I'm not going to risk this. And you listen to that feeling like, I'm not going to do it.
I'd rather be wrong and alive than wrong and dead.
100%. Wow. It's amazing. And there's so many things we can play off of this. I know like a lot of your, when you do your speaking events and in your book, the 7 strategies to build resilience, it's called BreakProof. You talk about the resilience blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Will you talk about that with our listeners? What does that mean? Like, how does someone who's listening to you right now build resilience? What's the blueprint?
Yeah. If you think about it, when you're centered, you're strongest. And when we start getting off center, we start getting weaker, and then we can get knocked off our game.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, like we all wake up in the morning, we're great at our diet. 4 or 5 in the afternoon, maybe not so great, right? Because we're off center.
Yep.
So what did we need to do at noon to get realigned, or at 4 to get realigned, so that we didn't fall off the train that we were meaning to ride into the station? And so for me, I think resilience is really checking in with ourselves and making sure we're operating for center. One of the simplest activities I do is every single time I touch a doorknob, that's a cue for me to say, am I operating out of autopilot, or am I operating out of intention?
Okay.
And I'll take those like 3 breaths of just resetting, and I'll ask myself, like, what activity am I doing right now? Is it needed?
Yeah.
And like, note to self, there's a door to enter the pantry, because I can't tell you how many times I'm in there all of a sudden eating like goldfish crackers.
Yeah.
Like, what adult eats goldfish crackers? Like, what is wrong with me? And it's just like, it's just crazy. And so like when I have to check in with myself, I'm like, I'm not even hungry. Like, what am I doing? Like, don't go in that room. We're good.
I know. I think everyone listening can relate, because we've all done it.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I've done the same thing. Last night I was doing the same thing. And it's funny you say goldfish crackers. We have them there for our grandkids, but I'm in there just munching them away going, I'm not even hungry. I'm just, what am I, bored? What's going on?
Yeah, right. I want to chew. Like, come on, Jennifer. Like, get over yourself. It's just crazy.
Oh, man. Wow, that's I love that blueprint. And I think, you obviously are an example of resilience. You built that as you go through really difficult things, right?
Right.
And is that one of your main messages through this whole thing, is about, for the average person, if you will, to really start seeing how tough you really are, and that you can build this resilience in your life no matter what you're doing?
You can always build resilience, right? Yeah. Because here's what I think happens is you either lean against that edge, or the edge starts making you world smaller. And if we look back at COVID, just because it's a clear example that we all have experienced, is, it started being hard to be normal socially after we were quarantined for so long, because we weren't used to interacting with each other and doing things together anymore.
Right.
So that was like an interesting thing to navigate, where before it was so autopilot.
Yeah.
And so for us, whatever you're doing, whatever you're chasing, whatever you're trying to build, like, you have to lean against that edge, because otherwise that edge like shrinks your world,
Right.
and things that weren't hard become hard.
Yeah.
And so when you live by the motto, we do hard things, when something's hard, like, oh, this is what I do. Okay,
Right.
this isn't abnormal. This doesn't mean stop. This is part of life and growing and becoming.
Yeah. I love that. So now here you are, you're this speaker, you have a podcast, you're an author of the book, Breakpoint. Is that right?
Yep, BreakProof. Yep.
BreakProof.
Yep.
And, you're doing all these amazing things. Is that kind of your wheelhouse now? Is this your passion now, going around and sharing these amazing insights and stories and the things you've learned?
Yeah, I think on the hero's journey,
Yeah.
we all get this lesson and we come home. And once you have that lesson, it's like, if I'm the only person that made it to the top, I lost. So how do I help other people get to the top of their mountain based on the experiences that I had to make it easier for them to do so? And so, like, I think of this climb in Antarctica. Okay, climbing in Antarctica is unique because your compass doesn't work. You're at magnetic fields that mess up everything because you're so far south. And this mountain that we were climbing had only been climbed by about like 15 people before. And so there's not a lot of notes. And you're looking at a rock and you're thinking, did I go the wrong way? Did there not as much snow this year? So this rock's all of a sudden here that wasn't visible before because there's more snow, like just things. And so we took pictures and notes and all this kind of stuff. So when the next team goes, it's so much easier for them to go because of the documentation that we gave them.
Right. Okay.
Right. And for a lot of us, I believe that we're all climbing some mountain.
Sure.
And so what are the notes that I can take from mine that are universal to help you navigate yours?
Okay. Yeah, I love that. Help someone else.
Yeah.
When A helps B, A gets better.
I mean, it's such a
Right.
gift. You have grandkids.
Yeah.
I used to play soccer.
Yeah.
And when I got a goal, it felt like $1 million. When my kid gets a goal, there is not a better gift. Right? And so for me, it's like, okay, I climbed to the top. Fantastic. When I have somebody that I work with that gets to the top or through their thing, I mean, it is the happy dance at a whole new level.
Wow. I love that. Celebrate other people's successes. Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. I know another one of your things that you're really passionate about is celebrating the climb, not just the summit. Yes. Talk about that.
Okay, so this lesson was given to me on Everest.
Okay.
So we get to Everest, finally the top. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought we were going to like hang out there, but I did. And so when my guide comes to me, he's like, it's time to go down. I'm like, it's time for you to go down. I just got here.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Like, we need to go down. Weather's coming in. It's not safe to sit here. I was on the top of Everest for 10 minutes.
Wow.
I trained like 1,238 hours for 10 minutes. And I remember walking down that mountain, laughing at myself because we always think it's the summit.
Yeah.
It's not.
Wow.
It is 1,000% the journey, the overcomings, the setbacks, the obstacles, the who you become to be able to be a person that stands on that summit. And I keep this story on speed dial all the time because I am one of those people that likes to look at the end and get there and get there and get there.
Yeah.
And I forget like this is the good old days. Like today is part of my good old days.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, so will you say that again? How many hours? 1,032?
1,238. Like I literally counted this all up just
for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes.
Well, it reminds me of the quote of Usain Bolt. He said he trained 4 years to run 9 seconds.
Right.
I mean,
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. That is unbelievable. So yeah, we do need to enjoy the climb because if not, if we only have an opportunity to be at the summit for 10 minutes, then we're going to be miserable.
No, and you're always chasing the next summit, right? You are. And so if we know that there's always more mountains, there's always more summits, there's always more whatever, then it's not so much getting there. It's so much how many people do you help get there?
Yeah.
What is your experience getting there? And so now I'm always looking at them like I have this confidence of I know I'm going to make it to the top.
Right.
So how do I make it more fun? How do I bring more people along? How do I elevate others along the journey? And that's where a lot of us end up being once we reach the summit our first time. It's how do we make this significant?
Right. So beautiful. Well, you're doing amazing things. Is there other goals on the horizon, other records you want to go for or anything like that? Anything you can share with us?
Yeah. So like in this pursuit, a lot of times you climb the highest to be prepared for the second highest. So I have like 2 more mountains and I'll have the highest ones done too. So I'm probably going to finish those
That's incredible.
at a slower pace because I'm not in this huge antsy rush.
Right.
But
Yeah.
definitely have those on the horizon.
Okay.
And the fun thing is now it's more like, who do I get to do them with? Because the mountain will be there.
Yeah.
So who do I get to have that experience with?
Yeah.
And I think that's like when building a company, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, if I'm going to have this successful company,
Yeah.
who do I want to raise with me and teach and help them become better leaders so that when we exit the company someday, they have opportunities.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I have no doubt you'll do that. I think it's going to be amazing. So when you think of your children and, if I was to have them all in a room without you in there, what would they say about you?
I think they think I'm crazy. I do. Like, I have to be honest because I'll remember like when I was doing the soccer game thing, right? And my son would be like, Mom, can't you just be like the normal moms and like sit on the couch or like at your chair and drink a drink and like
Right.
watch my game?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to be the mom that's stepping on this step on the corner or whatever?
Doing a workout over
doing
there?
a workout. And then I'll remember like there was a spring break that the kids were going to Mexico. And I took my kids to Kilimanjaro because I wanted them to climb and I wanted to feel struggle and I wanted them to see what the experience was like that I talked about. And they're like, Mom, can't we go to Mexico with our friends and just lay out at the beach and go surfing? I'm like, you can next year.
Yeah.
But this year we're doing this. And they hated me for it.
Yeah.
And then I remember, and they even hated me for it when we first got back. And then about a month or 2 later, I was overhearing a conversation and one of the kids was being asked, like, what was your favorite vacation you've ever taken? And they said Kilimanjaro.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. So
Yeah.
like, it just sometimes it's type 2 fun. You and I
Yeah.
both like type 2 fun.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
in the moment, we're like, why are we doing
Why are
this?
we
And then
doing
we're
this?
done. We're like, when's the next one? I want to
Exactly.
sign up.
I know. That is so funny. You'll laugh at this because I did the Spartan this year. It was my 5th one. And the way they set up the course, it was way harder. It caught me off guard, actually. I'm thinking, it's my 5th one. I got this. It wrecked me. And I was telling my family this moment I was done. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with Spartans. I've got my fill. And then I signed up for it 2 days later.
I know we do. We're so crazy.
I'm like, what am I doing?
Yes.
But there was something about the feeling as it sunk in. It's like, hey, as hard as that was, I still finished it.
It feels so good.
And it's just there's something about that. And I'm also really big on doing hard things to build that resilience because life can be really hard, right?
It can.
We've got to be able to handle those tough moments that come your way. And I feel like those kind of things prepare me for that. And I would assume you feel the same
I
way.
feel the same 100%. Definitely.
Wow. What do you love most about you?
Curiosity.
Okay.
My willingness to say this doesn't make sense, but for some reason it feels right. And allowing myself to sit with that and explore it instead of always listening to my rational mind and shutting it down. So I'm really happy that I have that.
Yeah.
Just because I think curiosity is the spark of possibility.
Yeah.
And you have to start with curiosity to make things that you can't see real.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Well, you're one who has a very powerful mindset. I want to share a quote with you.
Please.
And hear your thoughts on it. Is that
Okay,
right?
great.
It's out of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
For the one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for the one who has failed to do so, the mind will be his greatest enemy. What do you think of that?
So true.
Right?
So true. And I can share that with a story from
Yeah,
climbing.
please.
So we were in this section that's called the Lhotse face of Everest.
Okay.
It's basically a 3,700 foot outdoor Stairmaster. Okay. Like you just put one foot in front of the other in the elements. There's nothing visually attractive about this section and it is a slog because you just don't even have things that show you that you're making progress. And we were in it during a storm. And so you change your goggles, right? You don't want sunglasses because it makes it too dark. So I put on pink lenses.
Yeah.
You can put pink, clear, yellow, orange, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I had pink. And after like 20 minutes of hiking, my brain's starting to like wander. And all of a sudden I feel like I'm in a cotton candy machine So I'm in this cotton candy machine because there's this pink blowing everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about cotton candy, which I happen to like. And I'm thinking about going to the circus with my grandparents and where do you eat cotton candy? And then I'm thinking about the game Candyland that I play with my kids. And all of a sudden I'm tied to a rope that looks like a watermelon rind. So now I'm singing like Watermelon Sugar High. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
Our alarms go off to trigger us to remind us to eat and drink because when you're altitude, your body doesn't do those signals.
Yeah.
So the whole team stops and we're all like bumping our things or whatever. And I'm opening up my backpack. I bump my glasses and instantly all this warm, happy energy runs out of my body like a light switch. And I look at my teammate next to me. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean, what are we doing? I'm like, why are we moving in this gray, horrible, whiteout snowstorm? And he looks at me. He's like, why are you shocked that this is happening right now? This has been our experience for the last 2 hours of this hike, and you look like you're shocked.
Yeah.
And I am shocked
Yeah.
because I was in a warm cotton candy machine having the best time of my life. And he's like, I don't know what you've been eating, but it isn't what we're eating. And I'm like, look at my goggles. And so then he put the goggles on. He's like, okay, I guess I can see that.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the reality.
Oh,
right.
man.
And so my mind turned this horrible, terrible experience into something fun and warm and happy.
Yeah.
And so we were doing the same thing at the same time on the same team, and you get a choice,
Yeah.
right? Are you going to make it fun? Or are you going to make it miserable? Because if you're going to go from point A to point B, you have the choice.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it was just funny. And I think mindset plays a huge role.
It really does. You know, that's one of my own personal struggles is controlling my thinking, especially when I was back in the thick of my addictions and stuff. It was all about my thoughts. I mean, I just beat the crap out of myself, and learning to make it my best friend instead of my enemy has been a challenge, you know.
You know what?
To this day, I still work on it.
I think we all do.
Right?
I'll remember like coming back from a climb. When you brush your teeth when you're climbing mountains, you don't have a mirror. Right?
Oh.
You're just out in the open and you're brushing your teeth and you're
Yeah.
looking at like God's creation. You're like, this is amazing. And when I came home, I, didn't have to put boots on, didn't have to get dressed to go outside to brush my teeth. And I walked into my bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and my talk was so negative. Oh, you look like you didn't sleep. Is that a blemish showing up? What's wrong? Like all the things. And I only noticed it because it was such a stark contrast to brushing my teeth like 2 days before.
Yeah.
And I pulled my kids aside. I'm like, what do you talk about when you brush your teeth? And so then all of a sudden we realized like we are kind of negative. So we had this rule in our house at toothbrush time, you were only allowed to talk positive to yourself, right? And if you couldn't think of something positive, we like posted little things that they could read that were positive for the 2 minutes you're supposed to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment that I realized like being kind to ourselves makes us stronger.
Yeah.
Like we really have to be our biggest cheerleader because the world's hard enough.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be against ourselves.
For sure.
Yeah, and it was
I love
fascinating.
that. Very well said. That's funny. Brushing your teeth. Yeah. It's like, what's my talk in that moment? Yeah. It's
Right.
interesting.
And you do it twice a day.
You do.
So if you can control your toothbrush talk, like game changer.
Game changer. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
If there's someone listening to you right now who's in a dark place and they're struggling and they're not sure what to do, what would you tell that one person listening to you right now?
Yeah. I would find something that you like about yourself, right? It can be physical. It can be mental. It can be, you gave somebody a hug. You opened a door for somebody. I don't know, something that is proof that you're a good human.
Yeah.
And then I would keep going down that path because it's one thought, it's one step, it's one image in your mind. And then you just keep building from there.
Wow.
And the minute you realize you're going down the wrong direction, time out. We do it in basketball, right? The other team starts getting momentum. You stop the game. You give yourself 30 seconds and you get back in there.
Yeah.
And so can you give yourself a timeout? And then again, seek for that thing that you're proud of, you're grateful for, and you build momentum from there.
Wow. Well said. I love that. That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, I know there's people tuning in right now who are in that spot. So thank you for sharing that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're grateful to hear that.
We've all been in that spot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
For sure. If someone wants to reach out to you, Jenn, and learn more about you and see what you do and learn more about, your podcast and maybe even purchase your book and things like that, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I have a website, jenndrummond.com, and it's Jen with double N. I'm on Instagram, the Jenn Drummond, and on LinkedIn. So reach out, say hi. I am like at that stage of the more people I can cheerlead, the better. So let me know where you're at, and if I can help, I'm here.
Yeah, I love it. I'll put those links in the show notes so they can get right to you. And I do recommend anyone get her book, listen to her podcast, see what she's done, read more about her. I mean, obviously you heard her story firsthand here today, but man, what an amazing life and what a great example. I just really love the way you carry yourself. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for being on my show today.
100%.
It means the world. And I know you're a busy woman, and thank you. And I'm really honored and blessed to have you on here. So,
likewise.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. Jenn Drummond. Please reach out to her. Share this episode with your family and friends, especially those that you know that are struggling. This would be a great way to kind of wake them up a little bit and hear some amazing advice from Jenn. And I love you guys. Thanks to my sponsors. I appreciate you as well for supporting me. And until next time, everyone, I love you guys. Take care.